LaPenta. This is WICR.
Hello, Iona College. Welcome back to another quick little sports fall update to start off your Friday morning. A couple of nice things in the sports world last night. A couple stories broke. So go into the weekend, give you a little rundown before your weekend kicks off. Last night, obviously, on the Thursday night football matchup, you had the Denver Broncos defeating the San Diego Chargers 35-21. It wasn't a bad game. I mean, I think you kind of look at the Thursday night slate the last couple weeks. They've definitely been getting better. The first couple weeks, they were very rough, extremely one-sided, and they've been getting much better. I mean, you had a good game with the Colts and the Texans. You had another good game this week, so it's getting a little bit better, and it's definitely good to see for those Thursday night matchups. But last night, I mean, the Denver Broncos just really winning that game. I mean, Peyton Manning, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. His receiver in that game, Emmanuel Sanders, he was just unbelievable. 9 receptions, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. And, I mean, Peyton Manning, you look at him offensively, he just makes it look so effortless. I mean, I don't think there's any quarterback in the NFL that I'd pay money to go see other than Peyton Manning. I mean, this guy is just watching him, his command at the line. He's the sheriff. I mean, that's his nickname, and rightfully so. The guy he has such firm control. Everything's so fluid with what he does. I mean, you literally can snap your fingers, and they are down the field 80 yards, and it's a touchdown. 3 plays, touchdown. The running game, Ronnie Hillman's been doing a better job, really helping out. I mean, as if the offense didn't have enough versatility to it. Now Ronnie Hillman's running the ball really well. But for the biggest thing, I mean, we knew the Broncos were going to come into the season building off what they did offensively historically last year, and the defense is just so much better. You see it every game they've played, especially in that game last night. I mean, Phillip Rivers, the first time he threw the ball down the field to Malcolm Floyd was about 11 minutes into the second quarter. I mean, their secondary was a major problem for them last year, and you could just tell that they're so much better in the secondary. I mean, you bring in guys like Talib, he's played better than I thought. Overall, though, I mean, that secondary is just so much better. And, I mean, overall, the defenses, look at last night. I picked Denver to win, but I thought San Diego was going to come in, run the ball very well, and keep Peyton Manning off the field for a little while, and it was going to make it a more close game than it was. But they just shut down Brandon Oliver. Brandon Oliver has been on a tear so far, but last night the Broncos really were the first team that really just denied him. I mean, it was tough to watch for the poor kid because, I mean, he was just running into wall after wall after wall. He couldn't get anything going on the ground. He really couldn't, and that really hurt the Chargers badly because the Chargers got putting up a couple of pretty nice scoring drives together, but overall the running game is very important to the Chargers offense, and when Brandon Oliver got shut down last night by that Broncos defense, it just did not help them at all. But you just watch the game. Both teams are good. Phillip Rivers, I was listening to his press conference after, and I mean, I think the way he put it was the best. Both teams are good, but you know what? Denver's just a lot better than they are, and that's a fair way to put it. The Chargers are a good team, 5-3. They've got a better stretch coming up, games against Miami, St. Louis, Oakland. So, I mean, they've got some opportunities to get some wins coming up, but the Miami game will be important for them. But, I mean, this Chargers team is fun to watch. It was a good game. Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning's historically been a very nice matchup. So, another good Thursday night game. Let's hope we can continue to build off of those and keep on getting some nice ones. Next week will be the Saints and the Panthers. This Saints-Packers game this weekend is going to be really exciting. I mean, because this game here could really do it for the Saints season. 2-4 for the Saints. This is a must-win game for them. Aaron Rodgers has been playing very well for the Packers. This game, they're on the road. The Saints are at home. I think the fans are going to get up for this game. I like the Saints, but a lot of people have very different opinions on this game between the Packers and the Saints. Should be a very good matchup with the Sunday night game. Hopefully it'll be better than last week. Peyton Manning, man, just taking it to the 49ers. But there was also a college game on last night. 2 college games. You had East Carolina defeating UConn 31-21, and Virginia Tech losing to the Miami Hurricanes 30-6. Duke Johnson just steamrolled over them. Duke Johnson, for a lot of people who don't watch Miami, I've been a big fan of the Hurricanes program. You look at what Al Golden has been doing there. I really like it. I mean, I watched Robert Kaya, their quarterback, the first game against Louisville, and I thought it was really rough, but he's definitely been getting better. Duke Johnson Johnson makes things easier. I mean, he's a phenomenal running back, very physical, tough running back. And Al Golden's identity is on the defensive side of the ball. He's done a phenomenal job there. I'm a big fan of Al Golden. But what about Virginia Tech? I mean, you look at this team. Look at them in Ohio State. Week 2, they beat Ohio State on the Saturday night game on ABC. And I think after that, both teams have just gone in completely opposite directions. Virginia Tech has completely fallen apart, and Ohio State's just been on a dramatic rise. I mean, I talked about it on Monday on the show, on the Gridiron Recap I filmed on Monday as well. Ohio State, man, I mean, I love this team. JT Barrett's got full command of the offense. Defensively, they've got it figured out. I mean, they've scored 500 yards. They've put up 500 yards of total offense the last 4 games. That's unbelievable. And Virginia Tech, after they beat that game, I mean, they've just completely fallen apart. I mean, Frank Beamer, I don't know. I think we all thought at the beginning of the season it was looking like a good year for Virginia Tech, but after watching that game last night, it was pitiful. I mean, Miami dominated every phase of that football game. It wasn't even close. I mean, so Miami, things are getting a little better than them. They actually didn't have the greatest start, but they're getting there. And Virginia Tech, I just don't like what I've been seeing out of them. But we've got a phenomenal game tonight on the Friday night game. Oregon and California. Last year, Oregon really took it to them. I actually thought it might be interesting last year because Oregon and California are both very quick, speedy teams, but Oregon just dismantled them. I think much of the same right now. I think the way they bounced back from that loss a couple weeks ago has been very impressive for Oregon. I mean, Marcus Mariota's definitely had his best year in that uniform, especially with all the problems they've had on the offensive line, everything else. I think Marcus Mariota, for me, him and Dak Prescott are definitely the 2 Heisman frontrunners. I think Nick Marshall could still be in the conversation. Everett Golson's still in the conversation. And a lot of people aren't going to say, but I think JT Barrett has as much a chance as anybody because the way he's played since that Virginia Tech game has been unbelievably incredible. So, I mean, I think those guys all have a shot there. Jameis is definitely not. Jameis, I don't think, is in the conversation there. But right now, Dak Prescott and Marcus Mariota are by far my 2 Heisman candidates. But I can't wait to watch this game. I mean, I say it all the time. I'm a fan of greatness. I want to see the best of the best, the interesting. I mean, be interesting. And the Oregon Ducks certainly are interesting. From the uniforms they wear to just the style of play, everything they do is cool, really fun, and to watch. So this game, it's going to be a nice West Coast game to have on a Friday night, 10 o'clock. Oregon Ducks, I'm in. I'm going to see what uniforms they'll be wearing. But I love this offense. I mean, you look at them, they're built on deception, spacing, timing, everything Oregon does is just so much fun to watch, and this game is going to be very fun tonight. The last story to get to, though, is Steve Nash. Moving to a little NBA news, jumping off football for a minute. Steve Nash, obviously, he came out, he's going to miss the entire season coming up. I mean, for the Lakers, it was an interesting day. You had Jeannie Buss on all the Sports Center programs, on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, on all the radio programs, kind of going there, talking about what's been going on in Lakerland, what's been going on with her brother, or the controversy with the team. Can this team win right now? What's the plan for the future? Because I think we look and this Lakers team's not very good. You're not in a position to legitimately contend for a playoff spot even in the Western Conference. I mean, look in the West, there's 12 legitimate teams who are playoff contenders in the West. I mean, you move off the 8 who even made the playoffs last year. You had teams like the Phoenix Suns who won 40 games. You had teams like the Denver Nuggets. So you have a lot of teams in the West, and it's very interesting there. So the Lakers, what is the plan? She made some points there. I mean, it's a weird roster this year. You've got Jeremy Lin now, who is going to have to take over the starting point guard spot for Nash. You've got Carlos Boozer you bring in. Can Kobe Bryant stay healthy? I mean, we all know Kobe's still going to play pretty well, even if he's but it's all about staying healthy for him. How will the rookies like Julius Randle come in and play? Nick Young is hurt for a while. Swaggy P always makes things interesting. So the Lakers, it's very interesting. But Steve Nash, I mean, I got to be honest, the guy has had a phenomenal career. I mean, a 2-time MVP in the era of Kobe and LeBron is very impressive. Won 2 MVPs, but it's time to hang it up. Call it a career. I mean, you look at Steve Nash, I mean, you could barely even remember him as a Laker. He spent about 5 minutes in a Lakers uniform. I mean, look, games played since he came to the Lakers in 2012-13. He played 50 games the opening year. I mean, all I could really remember him was for the injuries. Then you go to the 2013-14 season, played 15 games. I mean, to be honest, aside from the first opening night of the NBA last year against the Clippers, I really can't remember anything else about Steve Nash from last year. He's really just, to be honest, I can't believe he even wanted to play this season. I mean, maybe because he didn't like the way things happened last year, but he's out again. I'm shocked that if he doesn't retire, because let's just be honest, he's 40 years old now. There's just not much left there. I mean, he's had a great career, a phenomenal career. He'll always be remembered as a son, but for Steve Nash, I'll always remember the good old days, but it's time to hang it up. But overall, this is going to do it for your sports ball update for today, the Friday. We've got another show coming on later in the day, Mr. Armand Medeo, Big Shot Rob, and myself. So stay tuned for later, and we will be back.
Grammy party being hosted by Clive Davis, the founder of Arista Records, who had been her pop mentor.
And I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me.
Houston's death on the eve of the Grammy Awards sent shockwaves